This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist CJ Cartledge.
Okay, I hope you guys can hear me a bit better. I saw the audios were a little bit low. Welcome back to the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. Today, I'm meteorologist CJ Cartledge here talking to you about the tropics as well as our local forecast here. We're definitely going to see a little bit of some drier conditions for today for most areas north of I-20 and not so much for areas south of I-20 as the system may roll through those areas. Some areas along I-20 could get hit by some rainfall, but we're all going to talk about that on the podcast for today. I'm sure you guys have been hearing about it all morning with meteorologist Evan Thomason discussing those details here, but we're going to go over those details once again here as well. And then after the break, we'll be talking about our development or chance of development of storms within the Atlantic Ocean as well as the Pacific Ocean. And may I say, their storms are developing much more in some areas rather than others. So I'm going to leave it at that here and go right into our sky camera sponsored by Mattress Plus here, KSLA Tower Camera. We are looking at mostly clear conditions out there across the ArkLaTex, maybe a bit of some haze in the background here, or at least in the distance along the horizon, but we are looking at a peaceful, still hot and humid day ahead for us here in the ArkLaTex with rain for some areas and not much rain for other areas around the ArkLaTex here. But let's keep moving on here to the First Alert Doppler radar right now. We are looking at mostly clear roadways, or not roadways, but mostly clear conditions out there across the region right now. I'm going to move it just a tad bit forward there, or move it just a tad bit higher. And as you can see, we are seeing some rain showers move in from the south and west currently, but they are slowly going to make their way across the southern portions of the ArkLaTex, maybe clipping some areas along I-20, which is why we'll have some slight rain chances as we move towards the afternoon today. But some areas in Nacogdoches County and our southernmost counties and parishes here, even Sabine County and Parish and St. Augustine counties, are receiving some rainfall as of right now, maybe a few rain and storms, and that also causes the Storm Prediction Center to issue a severe risk. It's only a marginal, but we'll also go into that in just a second here for which areas that will see the higher rain chances for today. Moving this off to the side here, temperatures right now across the area, 86 for Shreveport, 87 near Mansfield, 82 for Natchitoches, 82 also for Nacogdoches, 84 for Longview, and we're only in the 70s, 79 for DeQueen, looking to be the last area to hop out of the 70s and reach the 80s for today. Moving this back over to the side, our feels like temperatures, we are feeling like the 80s for most of the region. Southern half feeling like the 90s near Mansfield and Nacogdoches. And feeling like 83 in Center, feeling like 89 here in Shreveport and Bossier, 86 for Magnolia over in southwestern Arkansas. But as you can see, for the next 5 hours, we are expecting these temperatures to rise, of course, into the lower 90s for at least Shreveport and Bossier. But most areas could see the upper 80s as well, mainly because of cloud cover. I could expect some areas south of the I-20 corridor to remain under the 90-degree mark here, but we're expecting partly cloudy skies with the chance for rain rising as we move towards the afternoon and potentially even the evening hours or early evening hours here. Here's our highs for today, 90 for Shreveport. As you can see, area south of I-20 in the 80s only. Now 84 for Nacogdoches, 86 near Manny, 89 for Coshada, Winfield, and Natchitoches. Looks to be in the lower 90s for most areas north of I-20, along the east side of I-20 as well, near Minden and Homer. 92 for Texarkana, and 92 as well near DeQueen and Hope for today. Future track. We are watching these showers and storms slowly make their way into the ArkLaTex. I'm actually going to see if there's another model that's a little bit more accurate. It doesn't look to be that much of a difference here, so we're going to go with this model, which seems to be a little bit higher resolution here. These showers and storms, or this disturbance here, is expected to make its way along I-20 and southward as we move towards the afternoon hours, possibly clipping by some portions along I-20, the west side of I-20 near Longview and Marshall in East Texas. and most areas just south of I-20 as well. Before it makes its way down to the south and east, maybe bringing a rain shower or two to Shreveport and Bossier, which is why we have a 20% rain chance as we move through the day today. But as we move towards our Wednesday, we could see a low pressure system, a fully formed low pressure system, as it looks to be, or it appears to be, possibly move into our portions of the ArkLaTex, mainly the north and western portions of the ArkLaTex. It could bring some rain showers to areas south of I-20 as well as we head towards the afternoon hours here, bringing the chance for strong storms, not so much severe storms for the duration of this system moving through. And it only looks to be a marginal risk for today in some portions. And looks to be mainly a general risk, which is just sub-severe showers and storms as we move through the day on Wednesday and into some parts of the afternoon. Maybe some more storms as we move towards our Thursday coming up this work week here. So definitely some good amount of rainfall on the way for us. But here's today's severe risk. Marginal risk of severe weather is in place for our southernmost counties and parishes within the ArkLaTex, ranging from Nacogdoches County all the way into Natchitoches County. The main threat is most likely going to be the damaging winds and a large hail that will be possible associated with these storms. And for tomorrow, we can expect rain chances to rise as we move through the daytime hours, but more likely for the evening hours here, at least for Shreveport and Bossier. Highs are only expected to reach the low to mid 80s potentially as we move towards our Wednesday here. This is when we could see 81 near Nacogdoches, 82 for Longview, 81 also for Mount Pleasant, 85 near Idabel and DeQueen. Most areas to the north and east will be the warmest across the region, mainly because that's when the rain showers will hit them the latest for the area. It looks to hit our East Texas portions of the region first. And as you can see, the temperatures look to rise as you move farther north and east within the ArkLaTex, or at least within the country. Now, 85 for Winfield, 83 for Natchitoches, 82 for Manny, 87 here in Shreveport and Bossier. It looks to be at around 84 here for Coshada. In terms of the heat risk potential, we can expect not so much heat and humidity for today, but you can still definitely feel it, especially in those urbanized areas like Shreveport and Bossier, Texarkana, Nacogdoches, Natchitoches, and those areas as well. But heading towards Wednesday and Thursday, we won't see much high heat and humidity, but we could see a rise in heat and humidity as we move towards Friday and into Saturday, with more of those orange colors being in the mix, bringing the moderate heat and humidity. It corresponds to moderate heat and humidity, but the red colors may start to appear in some portions around the area as we move towards the beginning of next week, as the temperatures may rise once again. Our next 5 days shows that temperatures will be pretty much flippy-floppy around here, around the ArkLaTex, maybe dropping into the mid-80s, low to mid-80s, in some areas even the upper 80s as we move towards our Wednesday. But today we're expecting the upper 80s and lower 90s. Heading towards Thursday, we're expecting mostly rain showers across the ArkLaTex through the day. So we could expect that high to decrease a little bit. And as we move towards our Friday and Saturday, highs are expected to reach back into the upper 80s and lower 90s here, and even into Sunday as well. Our muggy meter shows that the humidity is expected to rise, but expected to be mostly comfortable. Mostly comfortable. Still a little bit muggy out there, but mostly comfortable. As we move through our Tuesday, back to oppressive feeling heat and humidity as we move through the rest of the next 7 days of the 7-day period, or next 6 days of the 7-day period. Here's our rain chances, still remaining between 40 to 50% starting on Wednesday through our rest of the week and into our weekend. The severe chances look to be low, much lower than what we saw for this weekend. We don't see any slight or enhanced risks, according to the Storm Prediction Center as of right now. Maybe a marginal risk or two on one of these days, especially for today in the southernmost counties and parishes within the ArkLaTex. Our rainfall potential, though, is still pretty substantial for areas north of I-30 and around I-30 as well. Texarkana to receive maybe up to 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. In areas like DeQueen and McCurtain County, maybe 4 to 5 inches. Around Shreveport and Bossier looks to be around 1 to 2 inches, I would say. And areas down to the far south and east look to be at the least, in terms of the rainfall potential, around 3/4 of an inch to around 1 1/4 inches, around 0.75 to 1.5 for those that didn't really understand that. But moving on now to the tropical development. We're actually going to be talking about this after the quick break here. We're going to go right into the 7-day forecast, which I will pull up here right now. Gave you guys a sneak peek of the Atlantic hurricane season so far, or at least Atlantic oceans right now, which I will also be talking about in just a couple minutes or so. So, 7-day forecast. We're expecting highs to reach the upper 80s and lower 90s here with slight rain chances. Heading into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have more substantial chances for rain with temperatures dropping more and more into the 80s here. Lows are still expected to remain in the 70s through the rest of the forecast period, as you can see, and that 40 to 50% chance for rain looks to last through the rest of the forecast period and even into next week here with Father's Day. Not looking so good for those plans out there to celebrate the fathers. If you want to celebrate, make sure to continue to look at that forecast. But if it's looking like how it is now with the 50% chance for rain, you might want to move those plans back indoors here for Father's Day. So thank you guys so much for watching the forecast portion. We're going to go into the tropical forecast portion of this podcast here in just a couple of minutes. So make sure to stay tuned for that. We'll be back in around 2 minutes. And I'll be talking about the tropics in the Atlantic and the Pacific basins. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back here. We're going to be diving a little bit into the tropics as of right now here. So we're going to start off with the tropical development in the Atlantic, which you already saw a sneak peek for as I had a little bit of some technical difficulties with my graphics here, but there is no development expected within the next 7 days in the Atlantic Oceans. That means in the Gulf of Mexico and as well as the entire Atlantic basin here. We are seeing some unorganized showers and storms currently, and we pretty much we cannot expect anything through the next 7 days. Nothing is expected to occur here. And I know you guys have been watching some viral videos of people who have been just posting GFS hour 365 out there, which means the forecast hour is pretty much forecasting for far in the future, maybe the next 2 weeks ahead, almost the next 2 weeks ahead. And I just wanted to give a disclaimer out. Please do not believe those. A lot of people was forecasting for a hurricane to form in the Gulf of Mexico between June 11th and June 13th. And June 11th is tomorrow. We're not expecting anything through the next 7 days ahead. So make sure to take those with a grain of salt for sure. They take those usually from the weather models off of tropical tidbits, and GFS model usually outputs or puts out a lot of hurricanes in like the farther forecast hours. So if I said, if I looked up GFS, the one of the forecasts for today that was issued today within the past 6 hours or so, it has it can go out to, it has forecasts as far out as around 380 hours, and usually between the 200 to 300 hour range. It's not accurate at all, but the GFS usually puts out hurricanes like that in their model runs. So make sure to continue to take those with a grain of salt. Just because you see something on social media does not mean that it's always true. Just a disclaimer for that. But yes, that's pretty much what's going on here in the Atlantic Oceans. We're going to take a little bit of a dive into the Pacific Oceans, which seems to be extremely active as of right now. This is one of the storms out there in the Pacific Oceans. This is Tropical Storm Cosme, which formed, I believe, a couple of days ago. I believe June 7th was when it became a tropical storm, and a little bit later for that storm system to the north and west of it there. But it's currently sitting at 65 miles per hour, and the pressure is sitting at 996, which is below that 1,000 millibar, which is what MB stands for, pressure level. Below the 1,000 millibar pressure level. So I believe it is going to continue to make its way off to the north and west and either slowly dissipate. Maybe, I believe the track has it going to reaching hurricane status before dissipating here, but it's in very warm waters within the Pacific Oceans as of right now, right next to Mexico. Then we also have Tropical Storm Barbara, which is sitting at 50 miles per hour sustained winds, which is above that 40 mile per hour threshold, or 39 technically mile per hour threshold, which is the threshold for tropical storms. The intercentralized or minimum central pressure is 50 miles per hour as of right now, and it looks to decrease as you move outward, or the maximum central pressure, excuse me, is 50 miles per hour, and it looks to move down. The winds are like a little bit less strong as you move outward towards within the storm here. But it's sitting at a pressure of 1,100 or 1,001 millibars, and it's moving northwest at around 9 miles per hour as well. So these two storms are expected to continue to move off to the north and west, away from land here, which is definitely good. Maybe not so good for those islands out there in Mexico, but it's looking like it's going to move away from land as we move through the next couple of days or so. But there's also an area of development. You may not see it here on the screen, but there are, what I'm showing right now, just south and east of where Cosme and Barbara is being shown right now, is an area of development that has a 70% chance, which is a high chance of formation within the next 7 days. So we could definitely see more storms start to develop here. Maybe this storm right here may develop into something, or in this large area around the coastlines of western Mexico here, and it has a 70% chance of formation. And there's a 70% chance that a tropical storm may form within the next 7 days. Not so much within the next 2 days, though. But that's pretty much what's going on in the Pacific. There are two storms that are defined in one area of potential development that has a high chance of development within the next 7 days. So there's definitely some warm waters out there. There's definitely high activity going on in the Pacific Basin right now. Not so much of the Atlantic, but let's move back to the Atlantic as well as the Pacific here, just off the western coastlines of Mexico. There is that red range there. The darker red range corresponds to a between 40 to 60% chance of tropical development through the time frame of June 11th through the 17th. I think if you tuned into the show yesterday, I did show this on the First Alert Weather Breakdown here, but there is a 20% chance, a 20 to 40% chance for the areas shown in that pinkish, lightish red color there. that extends all the way into the Gulf of Mexico and outwards towards the coastlines of Mexico, western coastlines of Mexico, and the Pacific Ocean. 20 to 40% chance of tropical storm formation through the time frame of June 11th through the 17th here. Now, if I continue to move through this graphic, this tropical development seems to decrease through the time frame of June 18th through the 24th. But this is as of the Climate Prediction Center. This information is all from the Climate Prediction Center. So they should come out with a new forecast within the next maybe the next couple of hours or hour or two. I will give it maybe a day or two just to give them some cushion here. I believe they release these once every week because we're coming up to June 11th, which is tomorrow. So they may issue a new forecast for that time frame or the later out time frame. But this is I believe a week 2 forecast here, and it shows a 20 to 40% chance of tropical storm development between the Gulf of Mexico as well as the eastern Pacific Basin here. So that is pretty much all for today. That is all what I have for you today. Make sure to continue to tune in at weekdays at 10:30. Also, if you want us to discuss anything here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown, make sure to send us an email at weatherbreakdown@ksla.com or message us on Facebook at KSLA First Alert Weather Team, or you can message any of us. Meteorologist Evan Thomason, CJ Cartledge, which is myself, Austin Evans. Oh, I'm just been a little bit rocky today on the words and the names. Evan Thomason, Austin Evans, CJ Cartledge, and Matt Jones. You can email any of us or DM us on Facebook for any topics that you would like for us to discuss here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'll be back again on Wednesday to talk about the local forecast and something new that we have here. Make sure to tune in for the surprise that I have for you. Join us once again at tomorrow at 10:30 and through the rest of the week at 10:30 a.m. on Thursday and Friday as well as tomorrow. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown for today. I'm going to hop off here. I'm going to make sure you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday or Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Getting ahead of myself. Make sure to have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown.